This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn. Not his sidekick, John DiNallo, due to technical difficulties.
Yeah.
Again, this program is being brought to you by Yes I Can Coaching with Karen, that's me. And we also want to say that the Panther City lacrosse men's team is a proud viewer of What in the World, along with an abundance of people who know John and Paul. Welcome to What in the World.
Wow. Welcome, everybody. Wow. What an introduction. Thank you so much, Karen Hale. That was Karen Hale, media mogul at newclevelandradio.net, and our producer and our sponsor through Yes I Can Coaching with Karen. So we got all that. Plus, a big shout out again to our sports, our sports link, the Panther City lacrosse team down in Fort Worth. Are they in Fort Worth or?
They actually are Fort Worth. That's the Panther
Okay.
City, Fort Worth.
Panther City, right? Panther City. Yeah, I was going to say they were Fort Worth-ish, if that's a word. But they're in Fort Worth. Okay.
Right.
Well, great. And as Karen said, welcome to all of our friends out there, wherever you are. And we know that you're around the world, just like our show, What in the World, is around the world. We've got listeners and viewers both live and later in the future on YouTube. We love the fact that you're joining us on what has to be, as far as we're concerned, the most unusual, strange, funny news show on the air today. That's airwaves, that's podcast, that's listening in a can with a string to another can. No matter how you get your news, that's the way it is, and that's what you're getting from What in the World. Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. Whew, got all that in. I am Paul Seaburn. I am your host. I am also the editor and head writer at mysteriousuniverse.org. You can see some more great stories similar to the ones we're doing today on that website. Visit me on Facebook. I like to post jokes during the week. Sometimes some of the stories that you'll be hearing about today in greater depth, I'll test them out on Facebook. You can be part of the whole process on whether we decide to do it or not. So
Right.
be a big part of the team. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so so we're sorry John's not here. But to disappoint all of you, we had a good sport. We will be saving it for next week. So be sure to tune in for that. What do we got going on here this week? Some great stories, Karen. Boy, wait till you hear this. Everybody's been asking what happened to the Loch Ness Monster. We haven't talked about the Loch Ness Monster in quite a while. Good news, the first Loch Ness Monster sighting of 2024 happened just a couple days ago, and we're right at the top of the list of people that the monster contacts. His PR person contacts us to let us know, so we can be one of the first news programs to bring it to you, even with a photo. So let's see, what else do we have? How to make $10,000 using yogurt. Oh, wait till you hear this, boy. If you like yogurt, even if you don't like yogurt, this is for you. Something worse than snakes on a plane. Boy, wait. If you're taking a plane trip, you need to listen to this story coming soon. The worst way to run a marathon. Boy, this is a very popular story on Facebook this week. Frank Zappa's connection to flattest ignition. So we're going to find out what flattest ignition is and why Frank Zappa is connected to it. Do you know what flattest ignition is, Karen?
I have no idea.
Good. I'm not even going to ask you to take a guess or try and figure it out. Let's see. What else do we have? Oh, how to get slaughtered in Louisiana. That's slaughtered, S-L-A-W. You'll find out why I said it that way if you tune into the show. Plus, more odd news, world records, trivia. We don't have a sport this week, but we've got Bluff the co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game.
Oh, I get to win. John's not here.
Oh, that's right. I'll play for John. We'll make sure.
Darn.
Poor John. He's working. Let me tell you, all the John DiNallo fans out there, he's working hard trying to get on. So he may join us at some point. These technical problems are, I said this just the other day. I was in the technical business back in the 70s. I learned computers when I was in high school. Computers were supposed to make our life easier. Has it?
No.
I can hear all of you shouting, no, no matter where you are in the world. It hasn't. It's made it worse. So, we're not picking on John because of that. We're picking on John just because he's John. So let's get right to the Loch Ness Monster. Everybody wants to know about the Loch Ness Monster. So the first sighting of 2024 was by the guy that I do pick on because I'm upset with him. I call him the armchair Loch Ness spotter. His name is Ian O'Fadehagen. I'm pronouncing his name correctly now. He lives in Ireland, and what he does is he sits in his chair all day watching online feeds from Loch Ness, and whenever he sees something pop out of the water, he hits record, and then he sends it to the official registry, and he gets credit for a Loch Ness sighting. I think that's wrong. I think, if you're not there sniffing that good, fresh Loch Ness air and looking with your binoculars or whatever you're looking within your iPhone, it shouldn't count.
It's almost like those traffic monitors,
Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's fair.
Those. That's what he is. He's a living traffic monitor. That's what he is. Yeah. You have to be there. You have to be there. So of course he got the first one. He was so excited he almost fell out of his lazy boy, almost didn't get it. And of course in Ireland, it's not lazy boys, they're lazy old boys. So he was in his lazy old boy watching TV and he saw it. Now, he was so excited. It could have been something else. In fact, I think it was on Sunday, and I have a photo here of what it could have been. It could have been this monster right here.
Oh my, yeah. Kansas City.
Yeah, that's just Jason Kelsey. I think just about everybody in the United States was watching Taylor Swift on the AFC NFL playoffs between Kansas City and the Buffalo Bills. When Travis's, Taylor Swift's boyfriend, as my wife or as my niece told me, Taylor Swift's boyfriend is on the team, and his brother was blocking her view of Taylor Swift. Yeah, he definitely took his shirt off. He definitely looks like some sort of monster. I'm not sure what. Yeah, but this was not what he saw. What he saw was this right here. Let's take I'll show you the photo here with a convenient circle there, so in case you can't see it. So you can see a wake for those of you who are not watching on YouTube. And I wonder, why are you not watching on YouTube?
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, look us up later on YouTube. Anyways, so there's a wake heading, I believe, from right to left this time. So I'm not sure what direction that is. That would be from west to east, I think, on the loch. And he said that he felt deja vu because he had spotted the Loch Ness Monster in that same spot late last year. So what he thinks is he has finally honed in on a single monster with multiple sightings, which is unusual because most people go to the loch and then they leave and they get one chance. So he thinks he has the Loch Ness Monster figured out. He said, this is the first time I've captured it early in the morning, moving north. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. He even said he's moving north. I had previously captured it moving south late in the evening and near dark. So not only was it different directions, also different times. He said, we discovered from the first time that Nessie forages one way in the morning when it's light and travels back when the light of the evening is going to dusk. The question in his mind is, why and where is this creature going in the morning and returning in the evenings in the same area of the loch? My answer, he's going to get fish and chips, where everybody goes during the day. So I don't know. He's a giant water creature. They swim all day. They're looking for food. I mean, they're looking for fish. If he wasn't swimming, he'd be the Loch Ness Rock, not the Loch Ness Monster. Ian, you can figure this much out. So he says maybe Nessie rests during the day and rests on these ledges that are in the depths of the
Maybe
lock.
he
And
goes to work.
maybe he's got a job, Karen.
Yeah.
You know, maybe he's posing for T-shirts down, down by some a T-shirt factory down there. They've got an artist that wants realistic renditions of the Loch Ness monster.
Sure.
So he's posing. He or she is posing for photograph for drawing, or they could be, trying to mess with the people that are attempting to capture it on film. So to me, Ian is projecting. He can't find the Loch Ness monster during the day, so he's blaming the Loch Ness monster. I'm blaming the fact that he's taking a nap during the day, and he's nodded off in his lazy old boy, and the Loch Ness monster goes by, probably sticks its face right up to the camera, but he's asleep.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't go blaming the monster. So he says, yeah, people are there making noise and scaring it away. I don't think so, Ian. I think he's either asleep or he's switched the channel. He's watching his soap operas, those Irish soap operas everybody watches it. Anyway, all right, I'm done picking on Ian. Let's see who else I can pick on. Oh, so there's this thing. I didn't know this. It's called Dry January. Have you heard of that, Karen? Dry January?
I have. Yep.
Yeah, it's when people give up drinking for the month of January. You go out on New Year's Eve and you party and you got a hangover on New Year's Day, and you say, many people say, I'm never going to drink again. That usually doesn't work out. But now the trend is to say, I'm going to take a dry January. Sure. And take January to dry out and try to do different things, drink different concoctions besides those with alcohol in them. So this is great for people. This is bad news for the people who sell alcohol, like Miller, the people who make Miller beer and Miller Lite. In fact, I made a note here about dry January. When I first heard the term dry January, I thought that it was people who gave up wearing their Depends for the month of January. had to train themselves to, go to the bathroom more often or hold it or whatever it is. But anyways, so the people who make Miller beer, forgot who I was talking about. Where did they go? Oh, I haven't gotten to that one yet. This is let's see, what do I have coming up next on the photo? Oh, okay. So
we can't blame this on Zoom.
I can't blame this on Zoom. Okay. So we're going to talk about how to make $10,000 with your yogurt. I'll tell you the brand name. I put the cup up here. It's called Siggy's Yogurt. Siggy's is the Icelandic yogurt. It's made by Siggy's Dairy, which is not in Iceland, but it's in New York of all places. So Siggy's has something called the Digital Detox Program, where they're offering $10,000 to anyone who does a digital detox. Now, what is that? A digital detox means you give up using your iPhone for a month. Now, they allow you to, they'll if you're selected to do this, they'll send you a flip phone. So you can't take videos or anything like that. All you can do is use it as a phone, not like all the other stuff that you use your iPhone. They give you a 1 month SIM card and 3 months worth of yogurt, which, by the way, I've had Siggy's yogurt, and 3 months worth of Siggy's yogurt cost about $10,000. So they're actually getting $20,000 if you make it through.
Okay.
Expensive yogurt. Yeah, it really is. It's called, they don't call it yogurt in Iceland. They call it skyr, S-K-Y-R. Skyr is how it's pronounced. Icelandic. Skyr is what I said when I saw the price of Siggy's yogurt. I'm scared of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's named after the founder, Siggy Hilmarsson. Siggy Hilmarsson is his name. He called it Siggy because a cheesy yogurt from Iceland would turn Americans off, because that's what it is. It's kind of a cross between cottage cheese and yogurt, which doesn't sound very appealing at all. So he just calls it Siggy. And I didn't even know that they had more cheese in it's so cold there. I didn't even think they had cows. They had frozen yogurt or ice cream. But anyways, so Karen, would you give your smartphone up for a month?
Probably not, because I do all my business on it.
Well, your business then, and there's no way you could do your business on a flip phone. I don't think. I don't think I could either. So, but however, you could finally see where you're walking, instead of walking with while using your iPhone
or driving.
Or driving. That's even worse. Yeah, no, we don't. We don't support that at all. Walking's bad enough. Driving while looking at your iPhone is against the law in most places. So anyways, Siggy's is offering $10,000 if you can go the entire month without using your iPhone, and they take it away from you. So if you want to do it, go to the Siggy's website. They have all the information on how to sign up for it.
Well, the month is almost over. It would be very easy.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah, because it's what, the 23rd now. You'd only have about 8 days left.
I think for next month. Yeah. Yeah. I had a note here. I was keeping score. I had to look up when I bought Siggy's last, and it was the day after I won the lottery. So
you did, huh?
I made just enough to buy a Siggy's. Yeah, $10,000. Okay, this was a hot story on the internet this week. A passenger on SpiceJet, which is a discount airline in India, was flying from Mumbai to Bengaluru. I have no idea where that's at, but I'm guessing it's also in India. When he went to the bathroom early in a 1 hour and 45-minute flight, and the door got jammed, and he couldn't get out, and the flight attendants couldn't open the door from the outside. Already, customers on Boeing are demanding this option because they don't want to sit anywhere where the door might blow out. I think I have a photo of what. Yeah, there you go. There's a SpiceJet. That's a nice looking jet. Not very spicy, more whitish. So anyway, so the flight attendant, I couldn't believe this. The flight attendants passed him a note somehow underneath the door. They said, "Sir, we tried our best to open the door. However, we could not. Do not panic." Now remember, he is early into an almost 2-hour flight. He's going to have to sit in the toilet for 2 hours. Yeah. He says, "Do not panic. We are landing in a few minutes." So they must have slipped him the note towards the end. "Please close the commode lid and sit on it and secure yourself. As soon as the main door is open, an engineer will come." How would he secure himself in the bathroom? What he took toilet paper and wrapped himself there. He tied himself to the sink with toilet paper. There's nothing else in there to use. What they put the soap in his ears. I don't know. I couldn't figure out.
But you would be secure because there's no place to move anyways.
That's true. That's true. They offered him a full refund, and he said, even though, as Karen points out, it's awfully tight in the lavatory, it was still a better seat than sitting in the middle seat in the last row. Which,
yeah, that's right.
And no smelly people sitting next to him or falling asleep on him, or no screaming babies. He actually had it pretty good. So the good thing he didn't finish the in-flight meal, which was curry, because then he's in the lavatory, and you know what's going to happen after you eat a big bowl of curry. Or worse, if he had bean tacos, or worse, if it was a flight out of Cleveland and they were serving cabbage and noodles, and then you go to the bathroom and get stuck. Yeah, that was a segue into our next story, which is about cabbage. So speaking of cabbage, this story comes from Louisiana. Home gardener by the name of Jenny Borg set a new state of Louisiana record for the largest cabbage when her giant Saboro cabbage weighed in at 44 and a little more than 1/10 of a pound, with a circumference of 7 feet 2 inches. Here you go. Here's a photo of that cactus. Yeah. Why did she go? Yeah, it's huge. She's hiding behind it. She can actually hide behind it. She can almost hide behind it with her husband over there. Jenny said the cabbage that we're looking at the photos of here is already gone, and she and her husband ate it in casseroles and served it with ham, which explained there was a cloud over Louisiana last week. Everybody thought that it was either a hurricane or maybe a gas leak from one of the oil companies. It wasn't. It was Jenny and her husband
Oh my
eating the
God.
cabbage. Now, we talk about Louisiana a lot on the show. All of our listeners know that, Karen. We don't normally associate Louisiana with cabbage.
Right.
Right. Yeah. These things. So I'm thinking that they must serve it with something. But what I mean, do you make cabbage rolls out of alligator? They're big enough that you could roll a whole person in it, which I don't even want to think that
Yeah, I
they
don't
would.
even want to go there. No.
Maybe roadkill. Maybe they get some big roadkill and roll it up in these giant cabbage leaves. But it's huge. Now, it's huge in Louisiana. I did some calculations, and 44 pounds of cabbage in Cleveland is about half what you need for cabbage and noodles for a tailgate party before a Browns game. So, or if you're making Polish boys, you know what the Polish boy is. We've talked about those. That's a kielbasa covered with sauerkraut on a hot dog bun. I forget what else is in there. Mustard, probably some cheese, probably some onions. Anyways, so that would be perfect. They ought to be sending these up to Cleveland. We would eat them,
If you look behind her on the picture, that's why people should be watching us on YouTube. It looks like she has some other big foliage behind her too.
Oh, I think so. I think she
Yeah.
must be using some special kind of fertilizer. I don't know.
I think so. Yep.
Yeah. Maybe alligator manure or what else would you get? What else is there a lot of in Louisiana? I'm not
I don't
sure.
know.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I said they're the size of real blankets. That's how big these leaves are. Which if John were here, John has an annual Super Bowl party. These would be perfect for his Super Bowl party for making maybe stuffed cabbage, or he could roll an entire pig in one of those. Have a pig in the blanket. But of course, I would have pointed this out. It was John were here that John doesn't do any of the cooking for his Super Bowl party. That would be his lovely wife Annette. And I know what Annette's answer would be to getting giant cabbage from Louisiana just for the Super Bowl party.
I think we can all guess.
That's right, but it's a family show, so we'll leave it at that. Okay, speaking of Super Bowl party, so here we go. Here comes our dry January. It's a good thing we're not in January, the Super Bowl, because some people would still be in dry January, and they wouldn't be drinking beer. They'd be drinking something else, which is the traditional drink of the Super Bowl. So to help their customers, Miller Beer is panicking because so many people are not drinking Miller Lite during the dry January. They help you get through dry January without forgetting what the taste of their beer tastes like. Miller Lite came out with this. They're called beer mints.
Oh my gosh.
And a can. It looks like an Altoid can, but instead it has artificially flavored beer mints in it. It's a non-alcoholic candy that tastes like spearmint when you first pop it in your mouth, but changes to a beer flavor once you chomp on it. Does that sound appealing to you, Karen?
I've had beer twice in my life, and I keep asking myself, why did I drink it?
What would you drink wine? Would you eat wine mints or
wine mints? Yes, but beer I'm not going to even say what I think it tastes like. So
okay, yeah, and then if it tastes like Miller Lite, that's even worse. So this is such a bad idea. Miller Lite likes to use sports figures in their commercial. This idea was so bad they were pitching it around to sports players, and they had to scrape the bottom of the barrel, which was the third string of the Carolina Panthers, the worst team in the NFL. They found one kickoff returner who said, "Yeah, I might do a commercial for them." That's how bad it is. So back in our day, when we were first drinking Miller Lite. Beer mint was the can of Altoids that you kept in your glove box just in case you got pulled over by the police when you're coming home after a date. Yeah, that's what beer mints were. I wasn't drinking, officer. I stopped at the at the salad bar and I had a mint salad. That's what this is. So, or you told the cop that you were drinking Miller Lite and they felt sorry for you and they said, well, okay, don't do that again. Go home. Back in the old days. Back in the old days when the cops would actually let you drive home, or they'd follow you home. That never happens either.
Not anymore.
Anyway, yeah, the best part of Miller Lite was not the taste. It was the commercials. And Karen, I know you've watched a few football games and sports events in your day. Miller Lite is known for having sports figures in their commercials. Famous for them. Going all the way back, they had Ray Nitschke, they had Ben Davidson, Bubba Smith. The best one, they even had Mickey Spillane, who's not a sports figure, but a detective thriller author. He made a famous commercial for them. But the most famous one was former Milwaukee Brewers catcher and then later Milwaukee Brewers broadcaster, Bob Uecker. And Bob Uecker, very funny guy. He used to be on the Tonight Show all the time. He did a great commercial where he goes down to a seat and he sits down and all the people, he thinks everybody knows he's Bob Uecker, this big celebrity. And they come down, the usher comes down and says, I'm sorry, sir, you're in the wrong seat. And so he picks him up, and Bob Uecker's famous line was, oh, I got a better seat. I must be in the front row. And then the next time you see him, there's Bob Uecker right there. Next time you see him, he's sitting way in the back in the absolute, double Z road in the upper deck where you can barely see the game. Those today, to this day, and those were in the 1980s, those commercials came out. To this day, those seats are known as Uecker seats in every, yeah. You tell somebody you were sitting in a Uecker seat, and everybody knows you were sitting in the last row of the upper deck or in the bleachers or someplace bad like that. So anyway, so salute to Bob Uecker. He passed away a few years ago. Very, very funny guy. Heavyweight boxing champ Joe Frazier did another famous one where he sang. Joe Frazier was a singing boxer. Hard to believe. He actually had a good voice. So he had a commercial. Baltimore Orioles first baseman Boog Powell, one of the great names of all time for baseball, Boog Powell, and a former umpire, Jim Honachek, did a commercial. And they're sitting at the bar and they're drinking Miller Lite and they're doing the taste great, less filling and all that. And then the umpire puts his glasses on and looks up and he goes, "Oh, hey, you're Boog Powell." So it's a great play on umpires. Football player Bubba Smith, he said he liked the easy opening can in his commercial, and then he ripped the entire top of the can off with his bare hand. Very funny. And then finally, Billy Martin and George Steinbrenner. This is for our older listeners. Billy Martin was the longtime manager of the Yankees. George Steinbrenner was the owner. Both hot-headed, both feuding all the time. Billy Martin kept getting fired and rehired and fired and rehired. So the commercial "Taste Great, Less Filling" was obviously perfect for them, and that's exactly what they did back and forth. Now, I'm guessing that many of our listeners remember all of those commercials, which is my suggestion to the people who run the Super Bowl or the NFL or whoever the powers that be are. Don't torture us with all the crappy commercials that you come up with nowadays. Go back to go on YouTube. We're already watching all of them. Go on YouTube and run old commercials. And I guarantee people will not be going to the bathroom. They'll be watching Bob Uecker and Bubba Smith and the frogs and the was up. Right?
Well, there should be a station that we could go to just to watch commercials because my husband loves commercials.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'm surprised there isn't one. There used to be specials like in fact during the build up to the Super Bowl, there would be a half-hour special where they'd run some of the old favorites.
Right.
But I like your idea better, Karen. A half an hour of commercials and then a minute, maybe halfway through, of a clip of that might be the way to. I like that idea. I really do like that idea. I wonder if we'll our own network.
I don't
You
know.
know, if we get $10,000 from Siggy's yogurt, that would be a good start.
Hey, I think that's a great idea.
I think so. I'm going to work on that. First thing
Okay.
I have to do is get some Siggy. No, yeah, I get some Siggy's yogurt. Okay. So speaking of athletes and bad things that athletes do, other than drinking Miller Lite, in China, this was my favorite story of the week. In China, a 52-year-old marathon runner finished the entire 26.2 miles of the Xiamen Marathon in 3 hours and 36 minutes, which is phenomenal for somebody who's 52 years old. I had that time, believe it or not, when I was 32 years old. This guy is 52 years old. Not only is he 52 years old, he ran it while
Oh
chain
my
smoking.
God, no.
That's a photo of him smoking
Wow.
and running. Yeah, smoking and running. The witnesses, other runners said that he smoked the entire time, the entire run. So unfortunately, he was disqualified because of the smoking. Now he has smoked in other races before, but that's what the director said, that it was because of smoking. But what the other runner said, the real reason why he was disqualified was because he kept offering cigarettes to the runner directly in front of him, hoping that he'd start choking and he could pass him up and move up in the standing. Apparently, his name is Uncle Chen. So I think I did a story a long time ago about him, Uncle Chen, running these races while smoking. In
Unbelievable.
2022, he ran a marathon in 3 hours and 28 minutes. So under 3:30, which is still a really good time for anybody. He placed 574th out of over 1,500 runners. So he actually placed pretty high, probably in his age group. He started smoking and running in 2017. And so they call him at that time they saw him, they call him the smoking brother. Now I've mentioned this before, and a lot of my friends from high school listen to the podcast. Our priests were Franciscans, so we know all about brothers and friars. We had a Franciscan priest in high school. He wasn't the smoking brother. He was the drinking friar. Um, we may have had a smoking brother too, but if you had class with the drinking friar, you definitely didn't want to get too close to him with matches. So
Got it.
you
And how
probably
did he keep the cigarette going? I mean, he'd have to keep changing cigarettes.
sucking on him. Yeah, he had a backpack of cigarettes. 'Cause, I mean, it takes, how long does it take to smoke a cigarette? I don't even know anymore.
I
I
have
don't know.
no idea.
Everybody vapes now. So you figure 3 hours and we could do the math, 6 or 7 minutes to smoke a cigarette, unless he was doing, Virginia Slims, which are a silly millimeter longer, 101 mil. I don't know. Does anybody, this is where we need John. Does any cigarette makers make those long cigarettes, or are they all just the standard Winston?
Gosh, I have no idea.
Yeah, or Camel regulars without the filters.
Well, you can tell this is a filter cigarette. You can see it at his lips.
Yeah, it's a filtered CO. Yeah, he's an athlete, Karen.
They're probably menthol then.
Yeah, it's funny. My friend Don, and not Don the Bigfoot Don, but Don who lives in Cleveland, who is also and a fellow alumni, fellow high school friend of mine, also an environmentalist like the Don down in Florida. But he saw this and he mentioned to me that I think China has the highest number of smokers per capita in the world. So it's not surprising. He thought wasn't surprising. He expected there might be more people smoking than just Uncle Chen. But anyways, I looked up the rules. Believe it or not, the marathon committee issued a statement. He violated Article 2.12, which states uncivilized behavior from runners such as, get ready for this, open defecation, smoking, or trampling on flower beds or green spaces that affect the race and the safety of other runners will result in disqualification. Now, I can understand the smoking and I can understand open defecation impacting other runners. I don't know about running through flower beds, how that impacts.
Right.
But the others should go without saying. New York City Marathon is very confusing because in the New York City Marathon, every doorway you go past has somebody openly defecating in it. So they get confused. Are we allowed to do this or not? Also from China, and I'll get off that subject because I know Karen doesn't appreciate those. A video making the rounds shows a man in northeastern China attempting to light, get ready for this, light his own farts. He's lying down, and here's, I have a clip, I have a photo. There's also a video of
Oh
it.
my.
Trying to light his own farts, and he sets his pants on fire. So this is a photo of him. If you Google lighting farts China, you will see this guy in the entire video where he gets up and rolls around on the ground to put the flames out on his pants. Due to the fact that his pants caught on fire, he didn't get into the fraternity that he was trying to get into by lighting farts. But if you go back far enough in history, I believe that this is how they first prepared poo-poo platters.
Oh my God, I'll never eat that again.
And I thought this would be, considering the age of our two leading presidential candidates, this would be a good way to see who I want to vote for, because both you can guess that both of them are passing gas all the time at their age. They said, you forget solar power. This is the new green energy. So a lot of people are saying, hey, maybe we should all be doing this. Believe it or not, Karen, I did the research, and there's actually a Wikipedia page on lighting farts, which is how I found out that fart lighting is also known as pyroflatulence, or that question I asked you before, flattest ignition. It's the practice of igniting the gases produced by flatulence. The resulting flame is often a blue hue, hence the act being known as a blue angel, a blue dart, or in Australia, a blue flame. So lighting farts is not just an American thing, it's international, just like what in the world.
Hey,
yeah, how about
I am
that?
so glad to know it's not just America.
Well, there's more. The other colors of flame, such as orange or yellow, are possible depending on the mixture of gases forming in your colon. The Wikipedia page actually gave the chemical formula for farts, both before and after they're lit. Before it's methane plus oxygen. After you light it, it's water plus carbon dioxide. So that's what's happening over here. That gives you, Aren't we the most educational podcast on the air today?
I am so glad that we can educate our listeners.
Now, for my friends I'm not going to mention his name, but for my friends in both high school and college, I had a roommate in college who used to light farts. It wasn't John. So before you think I'm picking, I'm not going to mention his name. He doesn't listen to the podcast, but the next time I see him, I'll definitely tell him about it. He may have been inspired, though. This was back when Frank Zappa was big, and he may have been inspired by the music of Frank Zappa, because Frank Zappa often talked about the manly art of fart burning, and even did a song about it. He said there was a. In fact, I think I have a photo of Frank Zappa here. I guess I don't have a photo. Okay, we'll get to that one. So he did a song called "Let's Make the Water Turn Black," which was on the 1968 Mothers of Invention album. We're only in it for the money, for those of you who remember that album. And his lyrics for the song "Let's Make the Water Turn Black" said, "Ronnie helping Kenny, helping burn his poots away." So that's the way he talked about lighting. And then the last line of the song is, "Wait till the fire turns green."
Oh, wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
And there was a tale about, it was based on a true story of Kenny and Ronnie, who were friends of the band, who used to make alcohol, drinking, to booze out of raisin. And that's when they didn't have any blowtorch, they lit farts to light the heat.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I know. Who says college students aren't don't have ingenuity?
They are certainly innovative.
Isn't that wild? Okay, so a set of Winston Churchill's teeth, false teeth, are up for auction, and they're expected to get at least $10,000 when they go on sale in England next month. I didn't know this. Yeah, I think we brought a photo up there. There's a picture of Winston Churchill and of the false teeth in question, set in gold. Okay, so he could afford it. These dentures were specifically built to maintain his natural lisp, which I didn't know he had either. So I mean, I don't. It's hard to believe. Number one, there was a time when there was a politician who actually was proud of the fact that he had something false coming out of his mouth. Now, right? They never admit it. And John would have known this. He's our history guy. But Churchill was known for he had multiple dentures like that, and there was a famous saying that he said, but I don't remember him saying it this way: "I have nothing to offer but blood, toil, tears, and thwep." He would have said if he had a lisp, right? So this is apparently well known. I didn't know this. So he lost his teeth while he was in his 20s. I think he served in World War I, so it could have been a war injury. So he carried 2 sets of dentures with him anytime he went any place. His dentist, Wilfred Fish, designed them, and his technician, Derek Cuttlelip, interesting name for a dental technician, built them for him. And the first pair Churchill gave the dental technician a pair, and his son inherited them. And he first put them up for auction in 2010, and he sold this pair for $23,000. So apparently the price, if this sounds like Antiques Roadshow, the price in 2010 was $23,000. This year they're only offering it for $10,000. So Churchill's value has gone down quite a bit in the past.
I guess, yeah.
But wait till you hear this, Karen. This is the best part, and this fits right into our modern time. According to Nigel, he said that his father could always tell how the war was going by how far Churchill threw his dentures after he took them out. So if the war was going really bad, he threw his dentures against the wall or a farther wall, which sounds like something maybe both of our current candidates would do, but yes. At least one we know throws things against the wall, generally things that he's eating with ketchup on them. The dentures were prone to breaking because of that. So Churchill was buried with the dentures, with one set of them in his mouth, in case when he got to the St. Peter, and St. Peter didn't recognize him. I'm a Winston Churchill.
Interesting.
And another one is on display at the Hunterian Museum at the Royal College of Surgeons in London. So if you want to see them, if you don't want to bid on them, but you still want to see his dentures, they're on display in London if you take a visit there. I thought that was pretty interesting. Tale there on
almost like Washington's wooden teeth, right?
Like Washington's wooden teeth. I don't know that. I wonder if Washington's wooden teeth still exist, or if termites got to them or something. In fact, John would know this. I've heard stories that they weren't actually wooden. That was an old politician's tale. That his opposition party probably planted that rumor that he had wooden teeth and he had a girlfriend on the side, and who knows what else he had. Probably wore lifts. He wasn't that tall. Washington was just in the news recently. I'm trying to figure out why. There was somebody must have given a campaign speech near where Washington crossed the Delaware. Or, no, it was in Philadelphia. It was where they had to camp during the winter, and they were comparing that to how cold it was in Iowa. And,
okay.
Washington, camped out with his troops. And if the first president could go out when it's cold, certainly presidential candidates can go up to Iowa when it's cold too. I think that's a good idea. So, all right. Well, normally at this time we would be talking to John for his What in the World of Sports with John DiNallo. We mentioned earlier in the show that John had technical difficulties, and apparently his technical difficulties have continued until now. So rather than putting up John's logo, I think we'll bring that down, and we'll talk about Bluff the co-host.
Sounds like a good idea to me.
I'll tell you what, not having John here is really screwed up the schedule of my own mental capacity to figure out where we're going next. But there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. I can do those man, woman, person, camera, TV. There we go. Okay. I can I passed the cognitive test for those of you who are political savvy out there. All right. Well, Bluff the co-host is everybody's favorite weird news show, especially a good friend of ours, Paul, who I've known for a long time when we did a puppet show together. Yes, friends, if you're just tuning in, never heard my background before, my varied background. Let's see, I was in the computer business. I was a comedy writer for The Tonight Show, and I also worked for a puppet show. Boy, scraping the bottom of the barrel. It was actually a great job. It was a fun TV show for kids. We did it in Columbus, Ohio, called Taylor's Attic. Good old friend of mine, Taylor Mason, and I were lucky enough to do a children's show, 2 seasons of it, and Paul was one of our puppeteers during, I believe, the 2nd season. So he's a good listener on the show, and he always lets me know that he loves Bluff the co-host, as does. Since we're doing shout outs here, I'm going to do a repeat shout out from last week to our buddy Brian, who brought me the cheese. You remember the cheese statue,
right?
And I got more mileage out of that cheese statue. We went out to dinner with some friends of ours who are also friends of Brian. So I said, you remember Brian? Look at what he sends me on the show. And our friend Cindy, who is also a friend of the show, she and her husband Rich tune in every once in a while, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's Brian." So they understood completely. They laughed. They said, "Hi, Brian." So all right, so we need to get to Bluff the co-host. I know people have waited with bated breath. So for those of you who haven't listened to the show before, Bluff the co-host is basically 3 stories, news stories similar to the ones that I've been telling all afternoon. One big difference, all of those were real, straight off the internet. It couldn't be more real than that. The ones in Bluff the co-host may be real, they may be a bluff. And it's up to Karen and John, if he were here. I'll be playing for John. And our those of you listening both now and in the future to decide real or bluff.
Okay.
Gambling is allowed, so place your bet. Let me get a drink of water here because I'm going to be reading for quite a while here. All right, Karen, hand on the buzzer, and let's get to story number 1. Hedgehog lovers in England are concerned about the large drop in the nation's hedgehog population recently, and they're blaming it on robot lawnmowers being used on large estates. So the makers of the mowers have developed hedgehog crash test dummies to help develop safer robotic mowers. The dummies look like real hedgehogs, and the software in the mowers is being modified to decide if a bump in the grass is an animal or a clump of grass or a dog turd or a hedgehog, and either turn around or keep on going over it. If the hedgehog crash test dummies work, look for squirrels to demand their own crash test dummies so that they stop getting run over by those auto-driven Teslas. Okay, crash test hedgehog dummies to test robotic lawnmowers from England. Real or bluff, Karen? What do you say?
I hope it's really a bluff, because why does it have to look like a hedgehog? I mean, it hasn't all these years. You're just automating it, right? So I'm going to say it's a bluff.
Karen says it's a bluff. Okay, Karen says it's a bluff. Why would they have to look like hedgehogs? That's your logic there. Now, at this point in the show, if John were here, he would give us a long, detailed, logical explanation for why he agrees with Karen. So both of you say that that's a bluff. Is that correct?
That's
John
correct.
is nodding somewhere out in cyberspace. John is nodding. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, "Oh, look."
Just
The
showed
judges
up.
say he just popped up.
Oh,
The judges say
John.
you're both wrong. You're both wrong. That's a
Well,
real story, believe it or
yes.
not.
We
Hello,
can't
John. Can
see
you hear us?
but we can hear you.
Well, Annette's here, so that's how I was able to get
The lovely
yeah.
Annette. Whoa,
thank
there we
you,
go.
Annette.
All right. He pulled in just at the last moment. Just in time to
Annette
bust the
saves me
co-host.
again. Annette says, "Well, here it is. I have two sets." Yeah, I'll tell you later. I'll tell you guys later. Hey, so can I participate in the last or is that the last
Yeah,
one?
we just the score is tied 0-0. I
Yeah.
was playing for you.
Oh, okay. All
so-
right. All right. So shout out to the Cavaliers.
Oh,
Shout-
that's right. John's got his Cavaliers hat on. How many wins in a row?
8 in a row, and they're playing really great basketball with a team that's really depleted. They've got, I mean, they're one of their best players is out, and then another player, Darius
Yeah.
Garland's out with a fractured jaw, and
Yeah.
and
What do you need your
and
jaw
Mobley-
for to play basketball?
Yeah,
Never mind.
No, I know. And then Mobley is hurt also, but they're playing fantastic. But shout out to the Detroit Lions. In fact, I was
that's
looking for a Detroit Lions baseball cap for today's show, but I was thwarted in that. I was not able to do that. But shout out to the Lions. Great job by them. And should be interesting. The final 4 teams. I mean, see who can make it to the Super Bowl, right? That's kind
That's
of
right. That's right.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
So
Okay.
how did the show go overall? I mean, with everything. I mean,
But John, we're still recording right now.
I know you are. Well, I'm
Oh,
just
okay.
I'm
Well,
asking
we're in the
for-
middle of
He had to
what the
get his
co-host, and
words
everybody's waiting for the.
Well, yeah,
for the last
I'll
two
take a look at
questions.
it later.
So-
You know. All
There we
right.
go. So the score, for those of you who are still with us, the score is 0-0. John is here, so let's get right to John. Hand on the buzzer, don't forget, and we'll get right to story number 2. A
Good.
popular location for a tattoo on women is the lower back area, which has come to be known as the tramp stamp after Hollywood madam Heidi Fleiss flashed hers to the jury at her trial in the 1990s. It didn't help. Now, the tramp stamp has taken on a new popularity as the post office of Sweden announced it is issuing a line of tramp stamps featuring pictures of various celebrity tramp stamps. The tramp stamps are from Swedish actresses, athletes, and pop stars and will include their name, but nothing that would cause the stamps to be offensive. It's all in good fun from those fun-loving, tattoo-wearing Swedes. Okay, John, we'll start with you. So Sweden is coming out with a line of stamps, of tramp stamps belonging to famous female Swedish people. Real or bluff?
Well, we all know that Scandinavia has been known to be liberal in a lot of different areas, and this doesn't surprise me in a way. However, this is one that I pray is a bluff. I mean, how do you have a post office system, okay, that is a national system doing something like this? It's not in good taste. I mean, it just isn't, and I don't know how you get around it. I mean, I hope it's a bluff. I just hope it's a bluff.
Okay, John hopes it's a bluff. Karen, how about you?
Well, I hope it's a bluff too, but I just want to say that the governments will do whatever the heck they want to do to make some money. So,
Oh,
but it's a bluff.
Oh, yeah,
good
there you
point.
are,
Good
sure.
point. That's good point. Good point. Okay, so both Karen and John say the tramp stamps from Sweden are a bluff. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say you're both right. It's a bluff.
All
My
right.
question is,
Thank goodness. My faith in humanity is restored. Very
Yeah,
good.
well, the danger, of course, in doing something like this, John and Karen and everybody out there is, you put the tramp stamp on the front, people are going to be licking that side. They're not going to be licking the other side where the glue.
Oh,
Oh, that's
Oh,
possible.
wait a
That's
minute,
very
I think-
possible. That's very
That was a
possible.
horn-worthy one.
Very possible. All right, folks, that's very possible.
Okay. All right, just for John, I threw that one in. Let's see. So the score is tied 1-1. points are doubled in round number 3, but it doesn't matter. It's whoever gets the right answer is the winner. And if we have a tie, we don't care. Everybody goes home happy. So
That's
let's
right.
go
That's right.
to story number 3. You don't have to be a Star Trek fan to recognize the Vulcan hand sign made famous by Mr. Spock on the series and in the movies. However, if you can't make one yourself, you may want to keep it to yourself, as a new psychological study using finger flexibility found that people who can't make the Vulcan salute are more prone to be psychopaths than those who can. It sounds illogical, but the genes which control splitting your fingers are linked to those that also cause some psychopathic tendencies. While psychopaths who can't make the Vulcan sign might still live long and prosper, you don't want to know how they prospered. Okay, so a psychological study which found that people who can't make the Mr. Spock Vulcan sign are more prone to be psychopaths. Real or bluff? Karen, we'll start with you.
Well, I first have to say that his hand sign goes back way before Mr. Spock.
Oh, really?
Because if you are lighting Sabbath candles on Friday night, that's the way you're supposed to hold your hands.
Oh, really?
And my mother tried teaching me how to do that. And I can't do it. So I must be a psychopath.
Uh-oh.
And I'm gonna hope this is false.
Uh-oh. Wow. Oh my gosh. That's great. That's great. So Karen can't make it, can't do the Vulcan sign, but she's hoping she's not a psychopath. So that means you think it's a bluff?
Bluff, yes.
Bluff. Okay. I just want to make sure, because Karen has never shown any psychopathic tendencies that we could see.
You know of.
Okay. That's why we haven't asked her husband yet. So Karen says it's a bluff. John, how about you?
Well, I have a confession to make. I cannot do the Vulcan hand sign either, but I don't think that I'm a psychopath. Obviously, but I agree with Karen. I think that's a bluff. And like I said again, not trying to incriminate myself in any way. But this is another one I praise. I just hope it's a bluff, right? Let's hope
it's. I was waiting for you. I hope it's a bluff because I don't want to be a psychopath.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right.
And for those of you who are not watching on YouTube and can't see the fact, I am the only one of the 3 who can make the Vulcan hand sign. So just so you know. All right, both of you say it's a bluff. Let's check with the judges, and the judges agree with you. That is definitely a bluff.
Oh, right.
Thank God we're not psychopaths.
Maybe I should just check in for the last 2 all the time now, and I'll be like perfect. I'll get.
Oh, there you go. No, John, we missed your savvy insights on some of our historical stories that we had, and we definitely missed your sport. So for those of you who are listening and are fans of John's segment, John's sport will be shown in its entirety on our next show next Tuesday. But we're thrilled that you made it back just in time, John. So I want to thank you. I'll salute you up front here first.
Well, thanks, Paul. And
great seeing you. Thank you to your lovely wife for solving your.
Yes, we have to thank my wife for bailing me out again. So again,
again, that's right.
Late, but I'll be on time next week.
John used to have a pole in his basement where he would notch every time his wife bailed him out, and it's now a toothpick. So
yeah, that's exactly right. I mean, that's a true story.
Hey, we can all relate, John. Trust me, we all have one. Great to see you. I'll give you a call later. We'll catch up on what the technical problems were. And then, of course, we want to thank Karen Hale, our media mogul, producer, host, and all-around great person at newclevelandradio.net. She produces our podcast. She produces all the great podcasts she has on newclevelandradio.net. Please visit the website. Find out how to download our show, find us on YouTube. And then once you do that, check out some of the other great podcasts she has. And then also, if you're looking for a coach, find out how you can contact her for Yes, I Can Coaching with Karen. You know, she's been coaching us on this show. It's you know, for whatever that. No, she hasn't been coaching us. Because
You're getting yourself into a little bit of
my
a conundrum there,
performance
Phil.
today
Yeah.
would be a poor sales pitch for Karen. She's much better than that. She's much better than that. So, Karen, thanks again for everything you do. And most of all, we want to thank all of our listeners out there, either live, watching us on YouTube now or in the future, or in your ear on Spotify and Apple, whatever you listen to us to. We really do appreciate you being part of the show, listening to us. I hope you have as much fun as we do. Always fun to give shout outs to our old friends and to new friends. So I'm always watching on Facebook. We are picking up more people who are commenting about the show every week. We really love to hear from you. And you're the reason why we keep doing this every week. So without further ado, we will be back next week on Tuesday. Is that right, Karen?
Absolutely. We'll be here on Tuesday.
Tuesday. Okay, so we'll see you all then.
Take care.
Have a good week, everyone.
Bye,
Take care.
everybody.
Bye-bye.